There have been multiple incidents where someone ended up bleeding or needed medical attention to the point where stitches were needed. Faden-Tell 9115 says, and her other kid would suffer. She's only 16 and still a teenager. Welcome again to my Tens and Tens of Friends. It is me, Teacher TJ. And today I am going to be reading you a Reddit post. This Reddit post is titled, Am I the a-hole for giving up custody of my child? I have not read this post at all, but the title grabbed me and it is a couple of months old. The reason that this title stuck out to me because it's pretty strong. For one, I feel like a parent who gives away their child is already judged heavily in a negative way. But in my own personal opinion, if you give up your child, I feel like it was for a reason that was justifiable. And 9 times out of 10 is because parents feel like they cannot take care of them and they feel like someone else can do it better. Therefore, in my mind, I think one of the strongest things you can do is to be realistic. And if you cannot take care of your child, I think it's very strong of a parent to give up custody of their child if they can't take care of them. I cannot say if it's right, but what I would imagine is that it's very hard. But the username is Discordal, and again, the title is Am I the a-hole for giving up custody of my child? Hi all, this is a burner account. I don't really know how to write this without sounding like a terrible person, but I need outside perspective. I, female 36, have 2 kids, an 8 female who is level 3 autistic and nonverbal, and a 16-year-old female who is neurotypical. My husband and I are both exhausted. Our younger daughter requires constant care and has become increasingly violent over the years. She hits, throws things, and has seriously hurt both my husband and our daughter before. There have been multiple incidents where someone ended up bleeding or needed medical attention to the point where stitches were needed. Our home hasn't felt safe in a long time. Everything revolves around preventing the next outburst. We can't relax, we can't travel, and we've become completely isolated. Family stopped coming over years ago. Our older daughter basically avoided being home whenever she could. We've tried everything we were told to try: ABA therapy, speech therapy, CBT, in home support, respite care, and years of appointments, programs, and restructuring our entire lives around getting her help. Nothing has made things manageable or safe long term. If anything, the behaviors have escalated as she's gotten older and stronger. We are currently in the process of giving up custody to the state. The paperwork isn't finalized yet, but the decision has been made. This wasn't sudden. It's been building for years. Therapy, interventions, trying to adjust our lives, nothing has made things sustainable or safe. Since making this decision, things have shifted in ways I didn't expect. We've started reconnecting with family again. People have been honest that they were overwhelmed and at times scared of the situation, which is part of why they kept their distance. It's been uncomfortable, but also clarifying. Our older daughter has changed the most. She's actually coming home now, spending time with us, and seems noticeably less anxious. She laughs more and doesn't seem constantly on edge. She's even reconsidering college plans. She originally wanted to go far away, but now she's looking at schools closer to home so she can stay near us. I'm in therapy and working through a lot of complicated feelings. For a long time, I felt like I was operating on responsibility and survival rather than anything else. I showed up because I had to, not because I felt equipped or capable of handling this level of need long term. That's something I'm still trying to unpack. I know how this sounds. I know people will say she's my child and I should never give her up on her. But at this point, it feels like we've reached a limit. We don't feel safe and we don't feel like we can give her the level of care she actually needs. So I'm wondering, what does care look like inside of the facilities? Like, what would the difference be? Is it possible to have someone come inside your home and help with the child? Is it possible to get respite care so that you can have breaks and so that you can still have a relationship with your outside family and friends, considering that she's not safe to be around? I'm just really hoping that the OP exhausted all resources before making that decision, and it actually sounds like she has. So I'll read a few replies and we'll be done with this one. Concept Familiar 5626 says NTA for not the a-hole. You are probably doing the best thing for her as well as the rest of you. She isn't safe at home. And that's true, because if y'all not safe, there's a great possibility that she's not even safe. She needs very specialized care you can't provide. You can still visit your daughter as often as possible, but you are making the correct choice for your family. I'm so sorry. This has to be heartbreaking. Ice Seeker says this: giving up custody is better than keeping her and not being given the proper care she deserves. Other parents would have kept her in fear of being criticized, but would have neglected her behind closed doors. This is a hard choice you've made, but it's necessary for you and your family. NCA. Aggravating Tail 9115 says, and her other kid would suffer. She's only 16 and still a teenager. Zane 77 says, plus, most likely your 16-year-old will thankful the threat of an attack overhead, even when the younger child is not at fault, can really build resentment and a feeling of being failed. And while yes, there are other options available, they are in short supply. When available in your area, and honestly, just a reduction of stress in your life of not having to worry about one of your children or anyone else being harmed is unbelievable. Edit. Cleaned up the gibberish. The OP says, we plan to visit. This was, we can just be her family while she gets the support she needs. I still plan on being her mommy. Away dash at 4393 says, OP, I used to work with special needs and you are absolutely doing the right thing. Your daughter will have access to all the help she needs and make new friends. It will also benefit your eldest daughter hugely. Saint underscore Nick 5 says, youth, and I'm gonna stop saying underscore and dash. I noticed that, shout out to Bourbon Bougie. I noticed that she does not say the dashes, and it is like, it gets redundant. But you've done the best thing for your daughter. She will have a ton of resources from which to draw a team of people to support her. If possible, you and DH should start this new chapter by getting away, a place where you can take long walks and leisurely meals. A little lady says, you made a good decision. You aren't equipped to give her the care she needs, and you have another child to protect. You are a great parent. Sticks and Stoners says, NTA, you're not a monster. You're not a bad mother. I have zero experience with autism or of any severity, but I am a mom who loves her children more than life. I can't imagine the heartbreak, insecurity, or guilt, and probably relief that feeds the guilt you must be feeling right now. One of the things that was going through my head reading this was worry that at 8 years old, she's already hurting you guys. What happens when she's 16 and you guys are older and possibly less fit? How would you be able to care for her in a way that doesn't put yourselves and or her in danger? While I'm not one to put my faith in the state, I am not sure I could make a different decision than you guys have. With an abundance of empathy as a mother and just a human, I hope this is a decision that you can all come to feel good about. I hope your youngest daughter thrives in a new environment and that your oldest daughter can take some time to be a kid, as I'm sure she hasn't been all that free to do so before. This is not meant to place any blame or make you feel more guilt. I hope you and your husband are able to make up for lost time in your marriage and remember what it feels like to relax. I'm so sorry, OP. Yosara Harvey says, there's nothing wrong in admitting defeat after trying everything. Your child is simply too hard for you, or any untrained person for that matter, to raise. It will probably be one of the most difficult decisions of your life, if not the actual hardest one, but it's better for you, for your husband, for her, and for your eldest. You're not paid professionals. You can't care for her 24/7 and take care of your eldest. Have an actual relationship with your husband, a social life, and a job on top of that. NTA. Aggravating Tail 9115 says, this child, like some others, literally needs a community, a village, shall we say. NC Chocolate 3537 says, NCA, it seems both you and your family gave every option available for you a try. That must have been an impossible decision to make. Hopefully, she gets placed into a home with professionals who know how to manage her needs. It seems like everyone is on the same page when it comes to having to make such a tough decision as to place her in care where someone can really care for her properly. Oh, Jeff says, NTA, it's ludicrous that anyone thinks a typical family can healthily handle high needs, violent children. At best, they may be able to survive it at the cost of everyone else involved, with a little actual good coming of it. There are people that are not compatible with a typical living environment and require teams of highly specific professionals to address their needs. while also protecting others from them. Beck 943 makes a good point. NTA, as long as you keep in contact and don't shut her out. I can't say I'd do anything differently if I was in your shoes. If anyone here has a better idea, let them suggest it. Short of hiring 24/7 psychiatric aides, what other option is there? Thank you for exhausting every other option first. That's why you're NTA. Aggravating 129115 says, far too often we hear of the opposite where parents expect their normal, healthy child to bear the consequences of having a high need siblings. Friendly Dash Channel explains that that is considered a major childhood stressor. Sick on that says, this is such a tricky situation for so many families. I'd like to think with home life being calm and peaceful, plus a lot of therapy for everyone that's going to make regular visits with their youngest will be much better for them. They'll be out constant flight, fight, or freeze mode to form a much better relationship with her, I hope. Park Simple says, I'm not judging the OP. I think when you give up your rights, you lose all right to them and no communication. Wow, I hope that's not correct. But says, I work in the system and have dealt with a lot of similar cases West Coast North America. If the child's needs and behaviors are severe, like OP describes, the state will allow the parents to voluntarily surrender and place the child in a permanent medical group where their needs can be met. The parents would be allowed to visit and could have some say in the decision making unless the parents were causing the child distress or otherwise causing issues. The state will have ultimate decision authority, but parents will be encouraged to support as much as possible. They are given up their rights as parents, but would not be shut out unless the child requested it or there was proof that the contact was harmful, at least where I am. But I've seen plenty of cases where the parents can take the child for a weekend at home in case like this. That's cool. It's encouraged as long as they follow the rules set by the caseworker and child support team. But if they break them, the parents can be either completely shut out or severely limited. It depends on the family. But generally, OP, and their family would not be shut out unless it was a safety concern. My Little Rarity says, similar experience for me as well. In the vast majority of cases, it was beneficial for the kids to keep contact when they were voluntarily surrendered. Quite a few J's 30 says, my mom gave up custody of my sister when she was 16 because she was extremely out of control, to the only of accusing both of my parents of abuse and calling CPS on them because they didn't let her do whatever she wanted. Anyway, my mom still had lots of contact with my sister. We all did. She was allowed to come to our house and everything to visit. What you're referring to is typically when the parents' rights are terminated by the court due to abuse or neglect and the refusal to do their treatment plan to get the kids back. TF says the parents gave up custody, not parental rights. Fun Organization 3857 says OP gave up for medical reasons, not for laziness. This is not your standard case, and that is not the same. The child has medical issues that OP cannot handle. JD James says OP, FTR, NTA, but for the love of Pete, please get everyone in your household therapy and a support group. The OP replied saying that we have been in therapy for years. My therapist actually suggested giving up custody. And there was more, but I cut that off. Foreign Primary 4337 says, I'm terribly sorry for this entire situation. I really do wish everyone involved the best. Subject Dinner 3475 says, I'm assuming you live in the US. Unfortunately, the way things are set up here, it sounds like this is a decision you have to make to get her the care she needs. It sounds like you really have done all you can do to try to help her. If giving up custody allows her to access a higher level of care that you are not able to provide, then you are absolutely NTA. You are actually doing what is best for her. It's not good for you or your family to be hurt by her, but it's also not good for her to have this situation continue. NTA, it's a horrible situation, and all you can do is your best. Beck 943 asks, out of curiosity, what country gives a better option with this unique situation? Subject Dinner 3475 says, that I know for sure. Norway. They have a really good net of social services for people with mental and physical handicaps. That's cool. They send support professionals to the homes of patients when they are children. They have excellent respite homes and summer programs for children so they can have independence and something resembling a normal Norwegian childhood. These programs also allow the families to have breaks and have periods of more normal time with no guilt attached to them. It's simply seen as giving the children the care they deserve. They also have programs that allow people with all sorts of mental and physical handicaps to live independently. These services include sending carers to live with patients 24/7 on a rotating basis so they can do things like shop, work, and generally live independently of their families. And since it's a socialized healthcare program, these programs are given at no great cost to the families. Sometimes there are waiting periods, but it won't be as long as 8 years, and there's always some level of care available. And to be fair, not all programs function as they should, and they're not all perfect. It often depends on commune, region of Norway, where you live. But overall, it is a much better system that helps families manage these situations without burnout and, for the most part, preserves the dignity of patients. Aggravating Tale 91:15 says, Go Norway. And for real, go Norway. Wow. Revolutionary Rap 76 says, There is a reason that Norway and other Scandinavian countries often top the list in happiness rankings. Many reasons, actually. Subject Dinner 3475 says, In the U.S., your ability to help your child with issues such as these is very much dependent on your insurance. Because in the U.S., healthcare is a business and not a right. The, the insurance that you have completely determines what level of care you are able to access. By giving up custody, the child becomes a ward of the state, which means they are able to access higher levels of care than what private insurance is willing to pay. And then I will read a few more because there are tons, and we will wrap this up. Apprehensive Big 8900 says NTA. What you are doing is the most important thing you can do for your whole family. Your husband and you cannot give her the very specialized care she needs. As she grows, she'll need even more care to learn not to seriously harm someone else. Your teenage daughter is of an age that she needs her parents more than ever. Navigating into adulthood is tough. It's rough. Now, you can focus on her and still visit your disabled daughter. You've made a very brave decision. Psychological Name 28 says, Why would you post this here and invite the drama of strangers to judge you for something that's unrelatable to most? I don't know that it was a post for judgment. It seems like she was really at her wits' end and wanted to make sure that she was doing the right thing. And sometimes in these threads, we see a lot of helpful advice or information. So I think she was trying to make sure that she exhausted all of her avenues before she completely gave up. So I think that was a little rude, but okay. And we'll read one more and wrap this up. From Ain't Kiddin 687 says, My friend had a similar situation with their son. They tried everything, and I mean it. They eventually put him in a special school, which he attended for 4 years. The kid now is a politician. The heck is this special? See, have y'all heard of special school? So I think saying, why would you say this so you could be judged? Not so much as heartless, but it's inconsiderate. But this kid is now a politician, kind, caring, and an unbelievable speaker. Don't second guess your decision. It's what's necessary. I could imagine living in fear all those years, and it will get a lot worse. Your daughter and family understands, so you're doing the right thing. And that's all I have for this Reddit. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed to the end, if you have not subscribed, it's time to subscribe. Subscribe, hit that like button. Let us know how you feel about such life decisions. That's all I have for now. I will catch you in the next one. Bye, T.